after 2 years of building up this storyline and building up Cody Rhodes and building up Roman Reigns and his bloodline through lots and lots of dramatic twists and turns throughout the years, WWE has finally wrapped up this story with WrestleMania XL, WrestleMania 40, well, technically not the 40th anniversary, but the 40th WrestleMania event. It came from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, outdoors, and a very cold stadium apparently that the wrestlers and the announcers and the fans had to deal with. Temperatures not quite freezing, but not quite springtime either. But we're going to get into it today. The card, the show, what happened, who won, who lost, and the biggest sports entertainment event of the year, although they may be changing that to pro wrestling soon, but we'll get into it here as we review WrestleMania XL. Before we get into that, I'd like to remind you guys to help out the channel a little bit if you do enjoy content like this by hitting that like button. Like you know, every YouTuber tells you to do it. Subscribe button and notification bell, all that good stuff. It does let the YouTube algorithm know about our channel and that we cover wrestling so it can tell other wrestling fans about us. So I appreciate it, and let's talk about WrestleMania XL. So you had night one and night two. I will say night two, probably mainly because of the main event, was better than night one. But both nights they weren't quite as good as WrestleMania 38, which I still think is really one of the better ones of all time. Last year's, it's a little, I would say it's a slightly better than last year's. But this year started off real kind of weird, kind of slow. The first match with Becky Lynch and with mommy herself, Rhea Ripley, for the one of the women's championships. It was the first 5 minutes felt awkward, and I don't know, because they said Becky was ill all week and she was coming into this match ill, and it took them a while to get the rhythm. But after about the 5 minute mark, they got their rhythm, and then the rest of this match was really, really good. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed the tag team championship match, the ladder match scrum. Obviously, R-Truth, Awesome Truth are in here. R-Truth asking for a tag in the middle of the match and getting his revenge finally on Damian Priest. But turns out Damian Priest would have the last laugh of the night, though, of the weekend, though. But it was, well, first off, it was the influencer crew, Austin Theory and that other dude, and they got the one tag titles, and then we had to battle the rest of the match, and it does wind up with R-Truth ascending the ladder, getting the championship belts. Him and The Miz are now tag team champions. Absolutely fantastic. That was a fun match. Then we got into the middle of the card and things kind of slowed down a little bit. I wasn't as excited about the Rey Mysterio Andrade match against, you know, that match. It was okay. It did what it needed to do. We got in, we got out of it. Then we had probably not only, and it's bad to say worse, but the worst match of the weekend, the worst match of the night. Jimmy and Jey Uso, the Uso brothers, going against each other, which is somewhat of a tradition in WWE decade manias. It's amazing that that's a thing now, that they had traditions that happen every 10 years for WrestleMania. Of course, the first one was Bret Hart and Owen Hart at WrestleMania 10, the brothers wrestling. This is only the third time brothers have wrestled in a WrestleMania match. The third time outside of this one, and Bret and Owen, was when Jeff and Matt Hardy wrestled each other at WrestleMania, and that match wasn't all that great either, wasn't all that well received at the time. I'd say this match is probably about at that same level. Some people might rank it higher, some people might rank it lower, but it just didn't, something about this match just didn't work. It didn't click. But it was there, though. Things did pick up a little bit when Damage Control took on the entrance was great. Jade Cargill, as we've all said for the longest time, when she was in AEW, we all said, like, that she belongs in the WWE. She is a WWE type of she's a sports entertainer. She's not a pro wrestler. And we saw that here. She just looked awesome. Her, Naomi, Bianca Belair, a formidable duo against another formidable duo, and Damage Control. This match was really, really good, actually. I enjoyed it a lot. They made Jade shine. She's still very green. There's still some greenness in her. You can see it in her movement in the ring, but she did come across looking like a big star in this match, with her team getting the win. Her getting the win with Jaded and the pose that all the AEW fans are quite familiar with. Then we go from this to the best match, probably, in my opinion, of the weekend, the Intercontinental Championship match. I did say there was going to be a match that was going to steal the show. Sami Zayn challenging GUNTHER for the IC Championship. GUNTHER holding the title for 666 days. The sign of the beast, the devil himself. And in red, GUNTHER tried his best at this kind of Rocky IV interpret. They kept mentioning that it wasn't that great. It really wasn't Rocky IV, but whatever. You had GUNTHER beating the living tar out of Sami Zayn for a majority of this match. Sami Zayn's wife's at ringside, much as she was at Elimination Chamber last year during a match with Sami and Roman Reigns, which was amazing. You had the same kind of feeling in this match. This is where Sami Zayn shines the best in these kind of roles. And GUNTHER is the perfect foil for that. This was a no-brainer on how to book this match, and it worked perfect. It was perfection to a T. Sami Zayn got you believing. That's what he does. And GUNTHER is a big, massive foil, but Sami Zayn did manage to defeat GUNTHER and become your new Intercontinental Champion, breaking the longest ever reign for an Intercontinental Champion in WWE WWF history, going all the way back to Pat Patterson winning it in Rio de Janeiro. So we then went to the main event of night one. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, electricity and all, teaming with the Tribal Chief, the undisputed Universal Champion for damn near 4 years. It's been 4 years, I think. Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, the World Heavyweight Champion. The stipulation in this match was that if Cody and Rollins win, then it would be a fair one-on-one match. Nobody's coming down to ringside for the match between Roman and Cody on the next night. If The Rock and Roman won, it would be Bloodline rules, which means basically a repeat of last year, which is the last thing that Cody Rhodes would want. And The Rock and Roman Reigns, the match was back and forth, and there was some good teamwork, but ultimately The Rock and Roman basically destroyed Cody and Seth Rollins. Rollins' leg is all banged up. His back is all banged up. Plus, he's got a defend his title the next night now that he's got somewhat of an injury. And Cody not only got beaten up, but he lost to The Rock in the middle of the ring. And he repeated the same pose from last year where he's sitting in the ring, and you see in the background now this time Roman and The Rock watching a defeated Cody kind of reevaluate what he's doing with his life in the middle of the ring. So that was night one. It was an interesting night. Night two kicked off with a bang. We got poser boy CM Punk coming down to the ring in a suit. Yay, Ramones. CM Punk coming down and being guest commentator on this match, and he's still, like he said, he's really good on the mic. He was really good at guest commentary, called sacrilege when Drew McIntyre is introduced with the old bagpipes that we are familiar with from Rowdy Roddy Piper way back in the day, back when I was a little tiny wrestling fan in the 80s. And Drew comes out to his own music then. We then get the battered and beaten World Heavyweight Champion, Seth freaking Rollins. That goddamn song. That song's starting to irritate me now. I'm sorry though. And it's so obnoxious. It was obnoxious at the beginning, and then I thought it was kind of cool when the fans started doing it. Now it's back to being obnoxious again. I'm like, all right, enough guys, enough. Jesus Christ. But this match was way better than I thought it was going to be. It looked like it was going to be a flash finish when Drew hits the Claymore at the beginning of the match and gets a near fall. Punk is beating Punk at ringside. There's a lot of battling, a lot of jaw jacking back and forth. Drew threatened to do the go to sleep at one point in the match, and no, didn't happen. But ultimately, Drew did finally had to beat the living crap out of him, but he was able to put Seth down. And Drew McIntyre became your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, third generation. He couldn't be happy with it. He presented the belt to his girlfriend or his wife. I'm not sure who that was at ringside, his partner and then his friend. And then he sees Punk, and he just can't help himself. He's got to go over there and jaw jack with Punk and put the belt in Punk's face. And Punk's got his arm brace on because he's injured. And then he just goes too far. Punk sweeps his legs out from underneath him when Drew's standing on top of the announce desk. And then he proceeds to take the arm brace off, showing that he's probably close to being healed and ready to come back in the ring soon. And proceeds to kick the crap out of Drew McIntyre. And then we get Damian Priest music. And yes, here he comes sprinting down to the ring, but holding this briefcase forever and a day. Damian Priest finally cashes in his Money in the Bank contract. What does he call it? The choke slam from something down under, whatever the hell it's called. His choke slam pins Drew McIntyre, becomes just like that your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, third generation. And Drew McIntyre looks like a complete freaking moron once again. And you get this great shot of CM Punk just in the background clapping with this Cheshire Cat smile on his face. Dude, he's like, that's Punk, man. Like, his character, as a character, he's entertaining because he's such a little dickhead. But he gets his way, and then he's like the devil. He just laughs at you failing because he goaded Drew, and Drew just couldn't let it. Drew just let it go. If he had just let it go, I wonder if this is kind of a metaphor with CM Punk anyway. If you had just let it go, then Punk wouldn't have done this, and you wouldn't have lost the title. But good job, good way to fail, Drew, way to fail. So that was entertaining. That was a great cash in. CM Punk was great in his role. Drew was great in his role. Seth was great in his role. It's all went together so well. Then we had the 6-man tag team Philadelphia Street Fight. This match was okay. This was one of many times on the evening that Corey Graves would claim that he did a lot of research on something and then get something flat out wrong that me, from my own memory, can know that is wrong. And he tried to say that this was the first ever, and I researched this, I dug in a lot, Paul Ellering's first appearance at a WrestleMania. It's not. I remember distinctly, because I still have it on VHS tape when I recorded it. One of my personal favorite WrestleManias from my childhood was WrestleMania 8. And that was the WrestleMania. Paul Ellering came back with the Road Warriors because the Road Warriors had the Legion of Doom return to the WWF. They had been away. This was their big surprise return of the Legion of Doom to the WWF at WrestleMania 8. And this time, because he wasn't with them on their first run in the WWF, they brought in Paul Ellering. It's like a damn near 5 to 10 minute promo in the arena as a big, huge surprise. One of the big surprises of WrestleMania 8. And Corey Graves apparently didn't research enough by, I don't know, watching the shows that the company that you work for has all of that footage, and you didn't look for Paul. Oh, shit, I could probably Google. Let me Google it right now. Paul Ellering was at WrestleMania 8 with the Legion of Doom. Oh my God, it's so bad. Oh well, what are you gonna do? But there was also something later at night with Bayley and Bayley's costume, and he got the name of the place wrong or whatever, and it's like, Corey, you're 0 for 2. But anyway, we had Snoop Dogg on guest commentary for this match. Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits did defeat the Final Testament, and it was an okay street fight match. Probably nothing you're going to really remember that much. LA Knight took on AJ Styles. LA versus AJ. Knight versus Styles. Some people were expecting Tama Tonga run in, and I do think, again, you have to remember this is the WWE Universe. Tama Tonga running in an AEW show would mean something. Tama Tonga running in at a WWE show where 2/3 of the audience, again, remind you, they don't watch anything else but WWE. So they're not going to know who Tama Tonga is. They're not pro wrestling fans or WWE fans. So that wouldn't have been a good spot to debut Tama Tonga, in my opinion. I do expect that to probably happen I expect that maybe Raw after, probably tonight, maybe Raw after Mania, maybe SmackDown, whenever it is. I do expect that we're going to see Tama Tonga in the WWE pretty soon, but this probably was not the night to do it. It might be the catalyst, however, for them to do it, because LA Knight does defeat AJ Styles clean in the ring and gets his first of what will probably be many big wins for LA Knight in his WWE career. United States Championship match, Logan Paul defeated Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens got greeted by the brand new IC champion Sami Zayn, and he looked at Owens and was like, all right, you're going for the US title. We're both going for the secondary championships. It's your turn. Kevin Owens goes out there like a bat out of hell. He gets on a cart. Then Randy Orton's music plays. Kevin Owens backs the cart back up to the entrance, tells Randy to get on the cart, and they charge to the ring like they're storming Normandy to go take on this insurrectionist Logan Paul, who's making a mockery of their business. And look, this match was actually better than I thought it was. It did have some down moments, But I think overall it did what it needed to do. Logan Paul wound up retaining the championship. He had his cronies in the Prime Energy drink sponsorship. It's that kind of stuff. And when I say WWE, and for some of you who are new, and I say, when you heard me say in the past, I can appreciate WWE for what it does, but their style of wrestling is not my cup of tea. This is the kind of stuff that they do a lot of, that when I see it, this is what I mean by not my cup of tea. I'm not big for that. Just the blatant, we're selling you something. Hey, you at home watching this, and you in the arena. Hey, dumbass, we're telling you to buy this thing. I have no problem with advertising. I worked in advertising. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying when it's so blatant like this and just unabashedly it's like, what's the line from Hannibal Lecter in that one movie? It's like sucking on a greasy coin. That's what it feels like. But that aside, we then got to something pretty cool. WWE Women's Championship match. Bayley taking on Iyo Sky. The whole Damage Control backstory, which I haven't seen much of because I don't watch Raw and SmackDown. I just watch the clips on YouTube, and they haven't really highlighted this feud. The video packages did help a little bit, and the announcers did help a little bit with understanding it. So I was caught up by the time the match started because of that. But it sounds like an interesting story that I probably will go back and try to check out some clips from it. But Bayley now ascending finally to that place where the other four horsewomen have all gotten to. Sasha's had her WrestleMania moment. Charlotte's had her WrestleMania moment. When she beat Asuka into Asuka's undefeated streak, and a bunch of other ones. Obviously, Becky beating Ronda Rousey and all that stuff. Sasha and Bianca being the first two women, and not only that, two women of color to main event a WrestleMania match. That's their places in WrestleMania history. Bayley doesn't have one of those. So this is Bayley, who, if you go back and think about it, when they got called up from NXT, all of the horsewomen got called up except for Bayley. Bayley was left behind when Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha got called up the first time, back about 10 years ago, maybe it was now. It's about 8, 9, 10 years ago, whatever that was. And now Bayley is the last one to get her WrestleMania moment, her big WrestleMania moment. This was a good match. I enjoyed this match a lot. I think the crowd, they kind of fell out of it a little bit. They may have been tired because, again, this is a pretty long show, but a pretty long weekend, and it was cold. But Bayley did defeat Iyo Sky. The end of the match is just phenomenal, and it's just another feel-good story. Bayley securing that WrestleMania moment from one of the greatest women's champions. And they even mentioned this on commentary. I think Iyo Sky gets so underrated, as she is so good in that ring. She's probably one of the best wrestlers, period, in the world, and she doesn't even get credit for that. She doesn't get credit for being a champion. And I'm talking about best wrestlers. I put her up there, across genders. She cannot wrestle 99% of everybody in the business, as far as how smooth she is and her just timing and her ability. But Bayley got the win. Happy for that. I'm sure all of the horsewomen are celebrating with her. And then we finally get to the end. The end of the road. The end game of the MCU era for WWE. The melodrama era has finally come to fruition here. This is Thanos meeting the Avengers at the end. Literally, that's, actually, thinking about how this match worked out and how overbooked it literally was like watching Infinity War or something. Because Cody Rhodes, down and out, exhausted. He tried to go back and he's trying to go back in time and undo the past. Also another Avengers Endgame Infinity War reference. And he failed at this part, and he failed at that part, and this didn't work, and now he is desperate. He's got one last chance. This is it. And he's got to take on a guy with a big glove who's been looming for years, has been looming over the entire WWE, kind of like Thanos loomed over the MCU all that time. The real final boss, the big baddie, Roman Reigns, comes to the ring, got his little tribal chief choir with him and everything else. Dude, it was badass, man. It was bad. And Roman just comes walking out. And I remember, I looked at him walk out here, and I remember stuff that I had said back when I started turning the corner on my perception of Roman Reigns. Because my perception, years ago, was about 10 years ago when they started trying to really push him and everybody was booing the crap out of him left, right, and center. And I remember seeing him in an interview outside of WWE, and I was like, who is that guy? That guy needs to be what they put in WWE, not what this suffering succotash dude. They need to put that guy that was in the interview. And so, and a few years ago, they finally did it. They put that guy that was in that interview and listened to what a lot of us have been saying for years and years and years about Roman. Like, you need to let Roman be who he is and stop trying to make him this, whatever this thing is that you're trying to make him that everybody knows is phony and is rejecting. Once they let him do that, here you go. And my thing was, like, he seems like he'd be like the coolest cat in the whole room. Sure enough, he came out in this entrance walking like he's the coolest cat in the whole room. Just like that's the Roman Reigns he should have always been. And I'm just happy that the last 4 or 5 years they finally let him go all the way with it and finally find himself and who he was as a character in the world of sports entertainment. But Roman came to the ring, man, and they went nose to nose. The crowd was a little silent at the beginning, which I was kind of surprised at. There was also an undercurrent through the weekend of a noticeable section of the audience booing Cody. That could be problematic for the future. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Because that is one of my concerns coming out of WrestleMania XL is like, how is it going to work with Cody? But they had a really good match, this is the Codyest. This is like a combination of Cody, a Cody Rhodes book match, a Dusty Rhodes book match, although they didn't quite have a Dusty finish, a Vince McMahon book match, and a Triple H book match all rolled up into one big mess. And this, like I said, it was like watching freaking Avengers, because like in Endgame, you know, here comes somebody else. Oh, here comes the Hulk. Oh, now here comes freaking Thor from the sky, and he's here, and now this person's here. And that's what this match turned into, because it was so overbooked. First you get, and I said, like, it's rules match. They had a bunch of near falls in the first 15 minutes. I was like, none of these near falls matter. You're not getting me on any of these, because we know it ain't gonna be, this match ain't nowhere near getting concluded until the Usos and Solo and The Rock and whoever else comes out here, right? And we all expected run-ins and shenanigans in this match to be overbooked. I did not expect it to be this overbooked, but once again, what WWE manages to do is like they've learned to go over the line. Like, if you're gonna go there, don't just halfway go there. Go full on. Like, it got to a point where it was overbooked to the point of being annoying, and then they just kept going to the point of like, okay, you've overdone it to the point now that I'm actually enjoying the absurdity of the whole thing. The Usos come out. They're the first ones out there. Jimmy comes out. Jey comes in. They have a scuffle. They kill each other through 2 tables off the stage. Then we get Cody coming back. He's about the same spot from last year. He's about to hit the crossroads for like the 85th time. Funny note, Roman hit the crossroads on Cody in the match at one point. Didn't get the 3 count, and he goes, man, that move sucks. Ain't nobody losing to that move. And sure enough, it took Cody like 20 of them to win this match. But here comes Solo. He comes in, same spot from last year, how Cody lost last year. Samoan Spike to the throat. Then they even set up a Samoan Spike spear combo. It still couldn't hold Cody down. The crowd is losing its crap at this point. Then this one got me. John Cena, Peacemaker's music hits. John Cena comes down to the ring, and I'm like, that is brilliant. Because the last time we saw Cena in WWE, Solo Sikoa destroyed him. And now, after all this time, Cena waited to now. Cena makes his run in, and it ties in with the. Oh, this is great. Good fucking job. Cena comes in, gets rid of Solo, but then the great one. Like I said, it's like Avengers. Then came Thor. Then came the Hulk. Then came Tony. Here comes The Rock. He comes in. Now The Rock makes his presence. He joins the battle. And him and Cena go face to face. So now we have another callback to that 3 WrestleMania story. The last time they tried to do an epic storyline and didn't quite work out as well, anywhere near as well as this one. But when they were doing that 3 years or 2 years, I guess I should say, 3 WrestleManias of The Rock and Cena, the setup at one, the first match at the next WrestleMania, and the second match at the WrestleMania after that, and they just ate up the end of the 20s of the WrestleMania era, the WrestleMania legacy. But they faced off again in the ring. That was pretty cool. Rock hits a rock bottom on Cena. Cena man, got to get that Just for Men, man. Got to spray that back. Spray it on that back, man. We all seeing that ball spot coming in there, man. I thought Nick Jackson was going to be the one to have to worry about that. But that was, The Rock took him out, and The Rock was going to let Cody know. He was going to, Mama Rhodes, you want to give you this belt with your son's blood on it. And Rock was ready to whoop Cody again because he whooped him the night before. And then here comes here comes The Undertaker. I don't know. The Undertaker shows up. He gets and choke slams The Rock out of his shoes. Again, callbacks to prior Attitude Era stuff, man. You had everything in this match. Finally, it does eventually wind up being Cody and Roman again. And after, like I said, 20 times he hit the crossroads. And by the way, I made this joke online. And it's actually pretty funny because of how much people crap about indie style wrestling and how it doesn't work, blah, blah, blah. Cody Rhodes hit more super kicks this weekend than the entire time I saw him on the indies, the entire time I saw him in Ring of Honor, the entire time I saw him in New Japan, the entire time I saw him in AEW. He rarely ever threw a super kick unless it was part of some thing he was doing with the Young Bucks or whatever, which was rare. I have never seen Cody throwing so many thigh-slapping super kicks as he did on this weekend at WrestleMania in the biggest company, at the height and the biggest angle and the biggest match of the modern era. And he's doing indie thigh-slapping super kicks in the middle. I love this industry. It's so absurd and funny at the same time. But that was the end of it. And Cody gets the pin. You see him thank Roman before he gets the pin. Roman's got a little bit of a grin on his face. He's like, thank God this is over. I can go home now. We have a new Universal Heavyweight Champion, Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare. And we get the big celebration a la his father. Just like it reminded me of a Dusty Rhodes celebration, him winning the NWA Championship all those times. Everybody's in the ring. All the baby faces come down. Cody gets on a microphone, and then he invites down Bruce Pritchard and Triple H. Now, the look on Punk's face when Cody said Bruce Pritchard, waiting for Phil to be Phil, but with legitimate reason for this one, because as we all know, Ronda Rousey even alluded to this, and a lot of people are saying all that stuff with Vince, you talk about people who enabled it. To see him celebrate with his family, to see him celebrate with Brandy. Brandy made an appearance, the first time we've seen Brandy. I think that's the first official time Brandy's been on WWE TV, because she wasn't part of the Cody thing back in the day when he was in WWE before. So she was there, and it was a great celebration and a lot of handshaking and people congratulating him, lifting him up on the shoulders, him holding the championship. I think at the end of the day, it's just very, very cool to see somebody have their dreams come true. We all can see Cody and somewhat vicariously imagine what it must be like to have everything you really dreamed of come true. To see the whole thing actually happen. It's very few times, I should say very few of us have that happen at all. And for those of us who have ever had anything like that happen, it's not often. You're lucky if you get one or two of them in your life where everything you have been working for finally comes together in with this one moment. That is a cool thing to see, and just to see, and that is part of the spirit of wrestling. That's part of the reason why we watch pro wrestling and sports entertainment. So, a lot of other stuff on the show. Some funny. I already talked about the pregame show and all the interviews and the AEW burying and all that stuff. Well, that's a topic for a different time. But I did notice that there was a lot of the term pro wrestling has returned to WWE. After 40 years of shunning the term and shunning the rest of the industry and calling the rest of the industry pro wrestling, which it is, and calling themselves something different. We're sports entertainment. We're better than that pro wrestling thing. Now it seems like Triple H, The Rock, Cody, they want to, CM Punk always did, want to bring the term pro wrestling and put it back in WWE. Let's see how that works out, because I still think this is a sports entertainment product, because again, it relies... The difference, what separates WWE, what separates this from any other wrestling show, because they're all essentially the same. There's a ring, there's a referee, there's a crowd. The difference is the magnitude and the size of everything WWE does. And the bigger it is, the bigger it's going to continue to get, because it's going to get more people who are going to want to be part of it because it's the big one. So it's kind of like this, it's like a snowball effect. It's kind of like this self-feeding thing that as long as they present themselves as big, people will consider them big, which will make them big, which will make other people consider them big, which will make them big. It just keeps going and growing and growing. And they have such market share. That's what they are. That's what they've been for quite some time now. And seeing it now have content for the last 2 years now for me as a fan, because I remember being impressed 2 years ago by WrestleMania 38 and going, wow, this is actually pretty good. This was a good WrestleMania this year. Seeing them now be able to do this for 2 years and them talking about a new era, the Paul Levesque era, the Triple H era. For me, it's the melodrama era, the MCU era, whatever you want to call it. I'm just happy that for what they're doing sports entertainment well. And that's kind of all you can really expect from them. Like, I'm not a biggest fan of romantic comedies, but if I see a romantic comedy that's done well and it's entertaining to me, I can go, that's really good for what they did. And that's my synopsis of WrestleMania XL. It was excellent for sports entertainment and what kind of wrestling that WWE does. Even though it is not my cup of tea, I can appreciate how well they did what they did. It did entertain me. I was excited. I was like, I guess that's it. I was entertained the entire time. And that's all you can really, what more do you really want from a WWE WrestleMania? That's pretty much the benchmark. Is it one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time? Nah, I don't know about that one. I'm going to think about that. But the fact that I don't have an immediate answer probably means no for me. But I want to know what you guys think. Was this one of the best WrestleManias of all time? Was it one of the best WrestleMania main events of all time? What parts did you like? What parts didn't you like? And where do you think WWE is going from here? Because that now is the big question. Is as much as they talk about there being eras, as I mentioned in the video the other day, as soon as somebody says we're just getting started, 90% of the times you can look back and point to that moment as being the peak of whatever it was. So is that the case right now for WWE? How's WWE going to work now that there is no Thanos, no Roman Reigns looming over everything, for years and years and years, like this dark cloud that everybody's trying to punch to get the light come? Well, somebody's punched through the darkness. The light has come in, and now the dynamic of the main event scene has changed. Now you have a white meat babyface who is very, very, very vulnerable instead of somebody with a wall around him. How are they going to book it? How are the fans going to react to it? Are they going to start booing Cody? Is that stuff that we heard at Mania going to carry over? Is Cody going to be as good a baby face without, the bloodline as a foil, or are they going to cheer for other people? Who knows? But we're going to check it out as WWE continues on with the Triple H era, the melodrama era here in the world of sports entertainment pro wrestling. And again, let me know what you guys think. I will see you guys here for more news, rumors, and commentary on the Rantin Review Pro Wrestling. Have a good day.